25. So what we are going to do is that, if you remember, in our previous lessons, we studied from lesson 1 until lesson 10. But today, we just want to see how we can recap. We can remember some of the things that we have studied in the past. So to start with, this is a theological instruction, as we mentioned. It's a Islamic doctrine, which in Arabic simply means aqaid, from the word aqidah, what you believe in, what we believe in as Muslims. So, belief is very important. To believe gives you a direction as to how you live your life. And you don't just believe without a reason. So if you look at the lessons we had, initially we started with the first lesson, where we spoke about lesson 1, concept of religion. And I remember that time we made it very clear. When we say concept is our understandings we have in our mind. Your concept of something is the way you understand it. Sometimes your concept could be right and it could be wrong, but it's still a concept. That is how you view things in your mind. Okay? So we spoke about the concept of religion because we wanted to dissect and understand what religion is all about. When we say religion, what do we understand from religion? So there is a concept, there is an idea in the mind with regards to this concept. And my respected brothers and sisters, probably if you have some sisters online, you see, this lesson, somebody might say, we know God, we've been worshiping God for years. Okay, there are so many ways you can view God. The easiest, or most of us as believers, whether we are Muslims, Christians, or whoever believes in divine worldview, we believe in God by quoting. You quote from the Quran or the Bible. But what you need to know is that not everybody believes in your Bible and your Quran. No. So if you talk to somebody who doesn't believe in your Quran and you want to tell him about God, you cannot quote the Quran to him for him to accept it, because he doesn't believe that Quran is a word of God. He doesn't believe that. If you go to the social media, you see people saying, no, Quran is just written by someone. And that is their concept of the Quran. And therefore, for us to be able to explain to them, to explain our position to them, we have to be able to clarify everything we say from philosophical and logical perspective. Today, if you look at our world today, if you go to our universities are designed in a way that students must challenge everything they read and everything they hear. It's not like you just go to school and you are told about something, you just accept it. No, you are challenged. Sometimes to a point where you are told to critique it. You have to criticize it. And when you criticize with the thought, and therefore what is scary is that if we don't approach theology, religion, from intellectual and philosophical perspective, we will lose our followers to, such institution, which always call in for, thoughts and reflections. And therefore, theological doctrine is very important, especially from philosophical and logical perspective. When you talk to a Muslim and you quote a Quran for him, he accepts because he believes in Quran in the first place. But what about the one who doesn't believe in Quran? You cannot quote Quran for him. What about the one who doesn't believe in the Bible? You cannot quote Bible for that person. And therefore, the only way you can be able to explain to the person is to use logic and philosophy. So that is why it is very important. This lesson is very important. And now we are moving into the era where access to information is common. It's not like in the past. In the past, you have to go and see Molana or your Mufti or your pastor to get information. Today, access to information is very easy. And therefore, it is easy for people to be confused if they are not well grounded. You have to be well grounded so that when you talk, you know what you are talking about. Sometimes you come across questions that tell God from their own conception of logical perspective to tell you that what we are saying is wrong. In such cases, you cannot quote Quran for them. You can't say, no. Allah exists and He's one. He said, what is your proof? Say, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Kul huwa Allahu ahad. Allahu samad. He doesn't believe in Kul huwa Allahu ahad. So how are you going to tell them? So that is why it's very important. We are using this book of our great scholar, Samat Sayyid Misbah Yazdi, who wrote this theological instruction, Durus fil Aqidat al-Islamiyah, in which we follow his profound philosophical views with regards to God, the day of judgment, and the barzakh, and the issues of Jannah and Nar and so on. So that is why we are looking at this, so that we can be able to awaken, that consciousness to understand that if we don't understand theology from logical and philosophical perspective, it will be easy. We will be defeated by people who are logical. You go to the university, even what Quran says, they said you have to critique it. If you follow the Quran, they say you are confessional. You are not criticizing it, you are just confessional, you are just following like everybody else. So you have to critique it. So imagine if they're asking you to critique and you don't want to do it, you just want to be confessional, it's easy. Your followers will be deceived. Anyway, so having said this, we spoke about concept of religion. And we said concept is in the mind. Your view, your understanding that you have in your mind is your concept. But here we are talking about religion. So we are talking about the concept of religion. So when we say religion, we have two meanings of religion. We have what we call the literal sense of religion and the technical. Literal sense and technical. What is the literal sense of religion? Remember, languages we speak, they were formed, they were created. The words we use in our languages, all this were created, they were formed. Like here in this class, we can create our own language if we want. Or do you think we cannot create our language? We can. We can create our language. Okay? Like my name. My parents gave me that name. They could have given me any name and I was going to respond to that name. So the same way, if today we decide that we want to call maybe a goat, we want to call it bat, and we all agree that it's bat. Tomorrow I said, did you see the bat? I said, yeah, I saw it. We have created a word for a goat. Okay? So languages can be created. And that is how language, if you go to the study of lexicography, they study how this word started, how languages were formed. That is why even if you look at the English we speak today, there have been so many additions and so many subtractions. Maybe if you bring people of 200, 300, 500 years ago, when they come today and we speak English, when they come and they hear us speaking English, there are certain words they have to ask. They will say, what is the meaning of this word? Because that is how language is. So in all sciences, we have what we call literal meaning and technical meaning. Literal meaning. So literal meaning is the meaning that the word had from the founders. Yani the founding fathers, when they mentioned the word, what did the word mean? We call it literal meaning from very basic level. And then we have the technical meaning. The technical meaning is the usage of the word, okay, in a certain scientific field. Okay, like the word science, the word science. What is the meaning of science? Science has literal meaning, it has technical meaning. The word salat for Muslims, when you say salat, salat has literal meaning and technical meaning. The literal meaning of science is knowledge. Any form of knowledge is science. Any form of knowledge is science. But today, the technical meaning of science is empirical science. So when we are told, hey, you know, maybe some scientist has discovered something, we say, wow, this is a discovery from empirical, from sense perception. Empirical means those who believe that everything that exists is material. They don't believe in metaphysical. We call them empiricists. They don't believe that soul exists. Okay? They don't believe that God exists. They don't believe that the angels exist. Because for them, anything that is immaterial doesn't exist. So that's why generally we call them, they are materialists. Okay. So science literally means any form of knowledge. Even if it is metaphysical knowledge, is science. But the technical sense of science is, you know, empirical knowledge. The same way salat. The word salat, the first time it was coined, lexicographers, they made it known to us that the word salat is prayer, any form of prayer. If you raise up your hand like this, you say, you know, oh God, or maybe you go to an idol and you say, hey, idol, I need help. You are praying. It is salat. Because that is the literal meaning. And the technical meaning of salat is to perform salat 5 daily prayers. So when you read Quran and you say, Allah says, inna salata, this salat here doesn't mean any form of prayer. No, it means 5 daily prayer. Why? Because Quran is talking about salat from the technical sense, not from the literal sense. I hope it's clear. So everywhere, that is why in your school, when you are doing engineering, you know, this engineering, every word in a field of science has a literal and technical senses. What is economics? Economics, we have literal meaning, we have technical meaning. Okay? So now when we come to religion, ad-din, the literal sense, I mean, when the word was coined, the meaning of it is to believe in something, anything, it could be, anything you want to believe. And then you adhere to the rules of that particular thing you believe. And after adhering to the rules, you expect certain returns from what you believe. Like for instance, if you believe that this rock is God, for instance, or you believe that this rock has certain powers, but for me to benefit from those powers, I need to slaughter chicken every month and pour the blood on the rock. So that becomes what? A covenant between you and the rock. Because the rock can do something for you, provided that you can do what? You will also live up to expectation by always cutting the chicken every month and pouring the blood. So once the covenant is established, you do your part, and then the rock will do its part. And what is the part of the rock? It will protect you. According to your imagination, it will protect you. So when you are going out, you come to the rock, you say, hey, my rock, my Lord, I'm going, so please protect me throughout my way and my return back home. So that's why if you go to the Quran, you know, in this lesson, I try to avoid Quran as much as possible because I want us to be very logical and philosophical. And here and there, maybe I'll just chip in one or two. Okay. If you look at the story of our beloved Prophet Ibrahim, alayhi salam, okay? These people, they used to worship idols. idols. And they believed that idols were the key to their success. So what they used to do is that, there are certain festive that they do, the covenant, where they will prepare food for the idols and they will leave the house early in the, early, before even dawn. Maybe let's say around 3 o'clock, they leave the city. And then they will stay there and pray to their God until they will come later in the afternoon. So for them, they think that when we do this, our God, they bring rain so that we can have bumper harvest. So that was their mentality. So that is a religion in the literal sense. So anybody who believes in something and there is a covenant between him and that thing, and whatever he does it, there are certain reward he feels like he's going to get, it becomes religion. So anything can be religion for anybody. Take in the literal sense. If you love your cell phone so much, and you know that every morning I need to charge my cell phone so that it will serve me, it's a kind of religion. But in the literal sense. Okay. Then when we come to technical sense of religion, technical sense is what? To believe in God the creator. Yani God who created man and the universe. You believe that there is God. He created the universe including man. And the same God who created the universe and man, he has a way that he wants us to conform with it. Because even when you worship an idol, there is something you need to conform with it as well. Because you have to pour the blood every month. So you are conforming, which is in line with the rock. So the same way, the technical meaning is to believe in God, that he created everything, including man. And also a path that aligns us with him. There's a path that aligns. So that is why, our great scholar, Ayatollah Misbah Yazdi, in his philosophy, he said, this world, he gave an example. He said it's like a big ship, a very huge ship, huge. And that ship has everything in it. There is water to drink, there is food to eat, there is enough sunshine, there is fertile soil, there are everything like we need as human beings there. And in this ship, the ship is sailing. And we found ourselves here in the ship and we are eating and enjoying. And most of us don't even bother to ask ourselves, who created this ship? Who manufactured it? And secondly, where are we going? We are just in the middle of the ocean sailing. Where are we going? And thirdly, where did we come from? So in his book, he says that, there were people who started asking that question to say, where are we from? Who created the ship? And others says, why are you worried about who created the ship? Food is there, eat. Why are you bothered? Why are you stressed? There is water. You want to drink water? Juice. You want to eat? What do you want to eat? Is there, and you are pretty stressful, saying who made the ship and where the ship. But this other said, no. We cannot just be eating. And then the food we eat and it doesn't finish. We eat and the food is there. Yani it's easy. Anything you want is there. And you don't want to think who provided it? Who made the ship in the first place? Who made it? And what is his aim? What does he want? Imagine you left home now, you didn't dress your bed. When you went back home, your bed is dressed nicely and you don't want to ask who dressed it. Then there is something wrong with you. Because I left, I didn't dress my bed. My room was not that clean, but when I came, the room is cleaned. So a logical person will always ask, who cleaned this place? So the same way, you are sitting in the ship and everything is there. Like this universe we live here. We need sunshine is there. We need water is there. We need food is there. What else? Everything we need is here. We need fertile soil is there. We need air to breathe is there. We need cows to eat, they are already here. We need orange, juice, mango, is here. So don't you ask yourself, who did these things? Who? Why did he know I need orange? Why did he know I need air to breathe? Why did he know that I will breathe out oxygen, and then I'll breathe carbon dioxide, and I'll breathe in oxygen? And why did he relate me with the tree so that we can be able to work like this? I mean, if we don't ask about this, then what is wrong with us? So we have to ask. So religion from the technical sense says that to believe in that maker of that big ship, and to believe that everything that is in that ship also he made them. And we also believe that if he made all these things, then there is something he wants from us. At least, how are we going to be living in this ship? He wants that. He wants to show us, live this way, live that way, do this, don't do that. So definitely that should be what will guide us. So technical meaning is to believe in one God, not many gods. We don't have God of the sun, God of the moon, God of no. Because it doesn't make sense to have different gods who share their things with the others, and all of them want to show that they are powerful and superior. There will be conflict, There will be, like in our country, South Africa. Imagine if it happens that, we don't have our borders, and we can just go to Zimbabwe and do whatever we want, even if they don't like it, and then they can also come here and do whatever they want. We can go to Tanzania. There will be conflict. So there must be order. And out of that order, we know who is the supreme, and all the laws and rules has to be taken from him. So that is where the technical meaning of religion comes in. But now that we understand, literal meaning of religion and technical meaning of religion, remember, we are talking about the concept of religion. The concept of religion, and we are speaking about technical meaning of religion. We have proven it beyond just a concept, because it's logical. It's logical that that is a big ship, and everybody can see that ship, isn't it? And the ship is sailing, and everybody can feel that it's sailing. How does the ship sail? Day and night. Yesterday is not today. Tomorrow is not going to be today. So, it's just moving. We are gradually going into winter. So it means that we are in the deep seas of the ocean, and we are sailing. Okay? And the things we need, they are there. So logically, we understand that technical meaning of religion does not only remain a concept, but it is real. But now, for us to elaborate on this further, we have what we call worldviews and ideologies. Worldviews and ideologies. What are worldviews and ideologies? If you look at the world, group of people or nations or tribes, sometimes they have their own view of this world. Like this. For those who belong to the religion of football, is there anyone who loves football so much here? Or cricket? No. Which games do you like that much? Yes, Amel. Which sports? Yeah. Cricket, but you don't like it because it took time for you to say it. Somebody, huh? Rugby. Yes. So you see, rugby is like a religion to those who are fan of rugby. You understand? But for us, those that is not, we are not fan of it. I don't even understand rugby until today. I don't know how they score and I want to know, but I've never had time to be able to, Why? Because it's not part of my worldview, and it's not part of something that I align myself with. For me, my sports that I love is football. So I know football in and out because that is what I love. Okay. So in this world, human beings, we are divided like that. We have world views and ideologies. Okay. So this worldview, you go here, they believe this. You go there, they believe that. You go there, they think if you do this, this will happen. If you go to some other places, some will even tell you that when you wake up in the morning and then your eye, you see that is vibrating like this. It means something is going to happen. They said if you find out that your palm is itchy, it means either you will have some money or a visitor will come. All these are, our own ideas and views of this world. Okay, so naturally, as human beings, remember, we are the best of all those that are in that ship. We are the best. Why? Because we have certain unique abilities that nobody else has. Okay, let me just chip in this. You see, human beings, when God created us, okay, I don't want to, whatever happens and we happen to be here on the ship, right? Look, we are material, we are matter, matter, okay? Yes, we have our own spirituality that cannot be seen. Let's assume that the spirit is there, the soul is there, but we cannot see it. But at least we are material beings. And in our material being, we share with so many other things. This world is material. The animal is material. Dogs, stones, all of us are material. Then from there, we are not only material, we are living things. We are living things. And we are not the only living things here. Plants, trees also are living things, isn't it? And we are not only living things, we are animals. And we are not the only animals also. Cows are, and don't be offended if I say we are animals. Yes, it's true. Human beings, we are animals. They call us higher animals. Okay? And we are animals. And we share animality with the dogs, the stones, because we eat, they eat. We sleep, they sleep. We breathe, they breathe. What again? We have, generations, they have generations. We protect and guard our territory. They even do it better than us. Okay, so we are animals. So you see, everything that I've mentioned, we share with other creatures. But there is one thing that we differ from them, and that is we are reasonable beings. We are emotional beings. Animals are emotional beings. Okay, animals can get angry, they can laugh, they can be excited. But the differences between us and all these creations that I've mentioned is we are reasonable beings. We think. We think, and because of that thoughts, we are able to evolve, we are able to grow, unlike animals. That is why, thousands of years ago, our fathers, they didn't know how to distill water, so they used to drink water from the rivers. Okay, but we have evolved today. For us to drink water, we need to make sure that we have, removed all whatever germs or whatever that will make us sick. We try to remove them. So you see that we have evolved, and the secret of this growth is because we have intellect. So that is what has made us different from everything that exists in the ship. The power of thoughts, the power of thinking, it has made us completely different. That is why they said, to whom much is given, much is expected. When we give you more, we expect more from you. So we are, a reasonable being. So a lot is expected of us. Okay. So now in that ship, we are the ones that have the intellect. And we are the ones who have different views and ideologies. And everybody believes that their ideology is right. And there are certain ideologies that are common among us. Okay, or worldview that is common among us. Like for instance, crying. When you see somebody crying, automatically you know the person is hurt, isn't it? Of course, I'm not talking about tears of joy. Okay, if you go to Japan, you go to South America, anywhere you go in the world, and you see somebody is crying, you feel that the person is in pain. The person is in pain. So it's a universal language. Everybody understands that. Okay, if somebody dies, and they tell you somebody's dead. It doesn't matter whether it's a Chinese, Japanese, it's Australian, he is Zimbabwean, he is from South America. It's a universal language everybody understands. So there are common universal languages that we understand, and then there are other languages that we don't understand. Like, for instance, God exists. There are groups that says that, yeah, he exists. There is other group that say, he doesn't exist. He doesn't exist. So those who believe that God doesn't exist, that is their worldview. That is their worldview. So because they believe that God doesn't exist, that is their worldview. So all form of their ideologies matches up with God doesn't exist. I don't know if you understand what I'm talking about. Because they believe that God doesn't exist, right? So it's like if you're going to come into this house, and then you know there are dogs here, the way you are going to walk in is different from if you know there are no dogs here, isn't it? If you know there are dogs here, you will stand there, boom, you will shout until somebody must come to the door. Because you are scared. If you come in alone, you can be bitten by the dogs. But if there are no dogs, when you come in, you feel free. You just say, Assalamu alaikum. Nobody's in front of the room, you go. Because you have a view and ideology that is connected to that view. So we have people who say God doesn't exist. So their ideology is connected to God doesn't exist. Like, for instance, today in this world, there are people, they don't care to kill someone for them to get what they want. Because they think that life only ends with this ship. So when you die, it's finished. So if he is hungry and you have and he can take from you for you to die, it doesn't matter because, you know, they say the survival of the fittest, you know. So if you are fit, you survive. Because he doesn't even think that, no, if I kill this one, there will be a day where I am going to be accountable to it. He doesn't believe that. So his ideology is live, take advantage of everything that is there. Like today, if you look at the systems we have, like capitalism. Capitalism is a materialistic, you know, ideology, and therefore it only cares about wealth. So if it happens that tomorrow there is petrol here, this place is ours, but they will remove us. If you say no, they will bring people to beat us up, and they don't care. Nobody cares about, you know, who you are. It's about wealth, because it comes with what? It comes with the world view in the mind. Okay, so like as I told you, we have different worldviews, but here we are talking about religion, so we focus on worldviews and ideologies that are related to religion. So we say, there are those who say God doesn't exist. So their ideology is based on God doesn't exist. And there are those who say God exists and their ideology is based on God exists. So, like for instance, if there are dogs in this yard, those who will come in with the idea and the mindset that, hey, I have to be careful, I might encounter problem here, they come in with the consciousness that there is dog here. So the same way, those who believe in God's existence, they live their life according to that God. And those who do not believe in God's existence, they live their life according to God doesn't exist. So when we say world views and ideology, especially with regards to religion, these are the two main groups we have. Divine worldview and materialist worldview. Divine worldview and materialist. So divine worldview is those who believe that there is the creator of man and universe. And materialists are those who believe there is no God. This world came naturally. You know, they say it came naturally. How? And they say there was some particles, they say shifting material particles, which resulted into some sort of, you know, opposition, and the opposition became so tough that it has to explode. Boom! Then out of that Big Bang theory, we got the big share. Let's say it's true. Who was shifting those particles? Said, no, it was natural. Naturally, it just shifted. How can naturally it will shift itself? But nevertheless, that is what they believe. So their ideology goes hand in hand with their belief system. I hope it's clear. Is there any question so far? But it's clear. Alhamdulillah. So from divine worldview, from worldviews and ideology, those who believe that there is a creator of the ship, we call them, they are divine. And those who do not believe that there is a creator, we call them materialist. Okay. Now that we know what is divine and materialist, let's look at what we call correct worldviews and ideology. So everybody can have their worldview and ideology. But which of those will be correct? Which of the ideologies will be correct? Here, we are going to use our intellect. Like the way those who claim God doesn't exist, they use their intellect, and those who claim God exists, they use their intellect. Now we are going to put those two intellects in a scale to see which one best fits the conditions we are living. Okay? I say 1 + 1 is 3. You say 1 + 1 is 2. The name of the game is evidence. What is your evidence that it is 2? And what is my evidence that is 3? We are not talking about 2 and 3. It's about evidence. Bring your evidence. What made it 2? I bring my evidence. Why is it 3? So the same way, whether divine worldview or materialist worldview, what are the evidence of both these ideologies? What is their evidence? So like as I said, we are sitting here. We don't need to know our great-great-great-great-grandfathers to believe that they existed. Or do we need to know them before we know they existed? Your existence, Assalamu alaikum. Your existence, my existence, is a testimony that we had 100 grandparents. Or do we need to go back and see them before? Can we be arguing to say, no, me, I never had 100 grandparents? Walaikum assalam. Can we do that? We can't. Whether we like it or not. Your existence, my existence, is a testimony that we had 100 grandparents. And no logic can deny that. No logic can. I know maybe you'll be thinking in your mind, maybe Jesus didn't have a father and all that. We will talk about that, okay? That is 1 out of, 1,000. But logically, everybody knows. Look, you don't have any connection with your great-grandparents. You don't have. Your third, fourth. Okay, maybe third if you are lucky, you know your father's father if you are lucky. Your father's father's father. Most people don't know that. What about the fifth one? Which connection do you have with them? If you see the image on the wall, you just see it like any other image. But if your grandfather is going to tell you about his father, saying, my father used to love me. And you see how he is connected to his father. But for you, you're not connected. But what is important is that regardless of whatever we can think about, we don't need to see our 10th great-grandfather for us to believe that we had one. We had one. You're sitting down here indicates that you had one. Whether you believe it or you don't believe it, you can choose to say, no, I don't have anyone. You realize that, no, you don't understand, but you have one. Finish and clear. So the same way, if it comes to this divine worldview, materialist worldview, we want to know the correct worldviews and ideology. What is the correct worldview and ideology? You are living on this earth. You need air. You didn't create it, and it's there you are breathing. You need food to eat. You didn't create it, and you haven't food you are eating. You need earth to walk on. You didn't create the earth, and you see, it's like everything you need. Somebody knows you need it, so he provided it. Then you tell me that, no, this thing just happened accidentally. Nobody did it. I mean, it just happened. It's like to say that, no, I don't have 20 grandfathers. That is what it means. Because what you need is there. Everything you need is there. So by having everything that you need, it means there is someone who made it to be like that. It didn't happen by accident. No, somebody made it to be like that. And it will be absurd for you to think that, no, this thing just happened accidentally. Then it means that there is something fundamentally wrong with you. Because it cannot be. How? How? You go to your room now, you go to your house, on your bed, you check, then you find 3,000 rand there. Then he said, no, this is mine. He said, no, it came by itself. Can 3,000 walk by itself to jump onto your bed? Can he do that? So it means that somebody brought it. You need to see somebody coming with it before you say, no, I saw him bring it, so he brought it. No, you don't need to see him bring it. Because 3,000 cannot walk by itself. 3,000 is not a bag. So whether you see him or you don't see him, somebody brought it there. So now if you say, no, it came by itself, what is your proof? Your proof is either you say that because I didn't see the person bringing it. But you have a proof that money can fly? Is there a proof you have to tell us that money can fly? You don't have anything. So therefore, you cannot prove that this money came by itself. So the same way, I cannot say that the food came natural. So natural without any intelligence, without any, that why is it that one day mango doesn't turn into orange? Because it's just by mistake. So one day we must just plug mango and then it is, hey, yeah, the mistake is continuing to happen. But it doesn't happen. Mango will forever remain mango. And orange will forever remain orange. So it means that there is fundamental order to all these things. So now let's come to these two groups. Those who believe that, no, God doesn't exist. And their ideology is based on God doesn't exist because for them, everything just happened accidentally. And those who believe that God exists and their ideology goes with God exists. Which of the two is right? It's obvious. The one who said, I don't have 10 grandfather, and the one who said, I have 10 grandfather, who is right? The one who said, I have. And all the evidence are clear that he is right. And all the evidence are very clear that you, the one who said you don't have 10 grandfather because you are saying, I didn't see them. I didn't even know where they lived, so they didn't exist. You are lying. Because there is no logical argument that supports that claim. So from there, correct worldview and ideology becomes those who believe that there is the creator of man and universe. I don't know if it is clear. Kabir. Yeah. So that is what is obvious. That is what is the truth. And therefore, from this perspective, we don't need Quran. We don't need a Hadith. We don't need the Bible. We don't need any book. Logic says to us that there is the maker of the ship. Because the ship is not accidental. Everything that is needed is available in the ship. And therefore, the ship is not accidental. I was clear. So from here now, if somebody comes and tells you God doesn't exist, it's easy. You can tell him that, no, what you're saying doesn't mean, especially some people, they will say, if God exists, I want to see, show me, where is God? Ajib. So you want to limit anything that exists by seeing. There are so many things that exist that you cannot see also. What is anger? You know anger. You know anger. You know anger. You don't know anger. It's like anger. Somebody's angry. Anger. You know anger. To be angry. You know it. Where is it? I met it when I was coming, So can we say because we can't see anger, anger doesn't exist? I'm not saying if you are angry. Yes, if somebody's angry, you will talk and we will know that it's angry. But even if you don't talk, the sense of anger is in you. And we all know that it exists. Do we need to see it before we know it exists? So you want to tell me that we must see God before we know He exists? No, that is a very basic way of thinking. I always say to my students that, you see, these eyes and these ears, they are very close to each other, but they don't know each other. Do you know that? Do you know that the eyes doesn't know that the ear exists? And the ear also doesn't know that the eye exists. How? Because in the world of these eyes, there is no sound. In the world of the eye, they only see colors. So if you come to the world of eyes, they only talk about your beautiful color. This is yellow, because that is what they understand. That's the only language they understand. They don't understand the language. So eyes, if it is possible for all the eyes in the world, whether Muslims eye, kuffar, atheists, if they go for a meeting, they're only going to talk about colors and sizes. They cannot talk about sound because it's not part of their world. The same way, if all the ears will go for a meeting, they're going to talk about sounds. They cannot talk about images because it's not part of their world. And therefore, anybody who says to you, we cannot see God, that is why He doesn't exist, ask him if he can see good or he can see bad. Can we see goodness maybe before you can tell me where you saw it and what kind of conversation you had with good? Good, it doesn't have, it doesn't have outside, we call it instantiation. It doesn't have existence outside. Unless if somebody does good, we call him, oh, this person is a good person. But good itself is not there. But we know that good is there without having any instantiation, any image outside, isn't it? So do we need to see it before we believe that good is there or not? No. So the same way God exists, yes, you can't tell me because we cannot see him, he doesn't exist. Somebody also will argue to tell you that, look, God does nothing. Everything is by nature. For instance, like most examples they will give you, say you people, you claim that it's God who falls rain. God doesn't fall rain. Said, why doesn't he doesn't fall? No, we know how the rain falls. It is either relief or cyclonic rainfall, either the sun, when the sun shines on earth and then the water will evaporate and it will go to the heavens, it will turn into, what do you call it, ice, clouds. Then when it's, overpowers gravity, it comes back to the earth. That is what rainfall is about. So where is the hand of God? What did God do, to make the rain to fall? You see? And there are some Muslims who will say, no, Allah is the one who falls rain. If you ask them to explain it from the logical perspective, they cannot explain. They say, no, Allah does it. How? No, it is true, Allah the rain falls. How? You must be able to explain. Okay. The one who says Allah doesn't fall rain, but it goes through the cycle I just mentioned. The question is he the one who created the sun that shines and evaporates the water on the earth? Is he the one who created that evaporation to be able to go? Is he the one who made the skies to be cold that it can be able to condense all the vapors that escape into the heavens? Who made those things? So who made iPhone? Do you want to see the person with the iPhone to say, no, he's the one who made iPhone? No. iPhone itself speaks about him. Or do you need to see the person before you know he made the iPhone? If I tell you that person who is walking here, the madman, is the one who made iPhone, will you believe it? Why? Do you know who made iPhone? But the iPhone speaks for itself, that the one who made me is intelligent. So the same way, the rainfall tells you that there is somebody who made me. So when the Quran says Allah falls rain, Quran is talking about the one who engineered all this, how he came up with this, plan where the sun will shine, the water will evaporate, it will go up, condense, comes back to us as rain. You understand? So these are the very important things we need to know, especially as students, You know, like to tell you, my fear now, and moving forward, access to information is easier than ever before. Easier than ever before. And all of us, we want to go to the universities, we want to go to the best universities, we want to take up, science, we want to become engineers. It's very good. But our understanding of our God also must go to that level so that we know we are in good standing. Because if we are not, one atheist will come there and he will deceive us. And we will start believing in what he believes in. Because we don't look at what we believe in from the logical and philosophical perspective. We only look at it from the position of belief, faith. We believe in Quran, we believe in Qiyamah, we believe in Nar, we believe in Jannah, we believe in the Prophet, we believe in Salat, we believe in going to Mecca, we believe in Hajj, we believe in this. That alone is not enough. We must go beyond that so that we can be in a good standard, inshallah. So we will end here. And I don't know if you have any question you can ask. You're good, nah? Alhamdulillah. So inshallah, do we have some online? Yeah, so because we're just starting today, so as time goes on, we will have so many of them, and yeah, we'll push inshallah. But I'm sure the lesson is clear, and is it good? Yeah, yeah, inshallah. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So we'll go for break and then we'll come for the next lesson. We'll talk a little bit of fiqh Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Okay, so today being our very first lesson on fiqh in 2025, as we did to Aqaid, we are going to do the same for fiqh. So we are just going to go back and just, shape our mind with regards to what we have done in the previous year. So today, our first topic we are going to discuss is about marja'iyya. Marja'iyat. Okay. So when we say marja'iyya comes from the word raja'a yarji'u. Irji'i, ruju'. When we say raja'a means to return to something. Okay? You return to something. Raja. Like for instance, if somebody goes out and he comes back, we say, Huwa Raja, he came back. So the word marja'iyya comes from that word. So like as we mentioned in Aqaid, in Islamic theology, we said when we say religion, we have the technical meaning and literal meaning. The same way in fiqh also, we have the literal and technical meaning of marja'i. So as I mentioned, marja'a literally means to return. Raja'a, to go back. Okay. But in the technical terms, when we talk about marja'iyya, we are talking about some individuals that are highly learned. They are highly learned to a level where we go back to them for certain clarification. So that's why the word Raja'a is associated with them. Okay? Because we go to them. If we need some clarifications with regards to our religion, we go to them and then they will clarify it to us. So that's why we call them, they are Maraja. Maraja is plural of Marja. Okay? And Marja'iyya is their portfolio. We call it Marja'iyyat portfolio. And we have Marja'a singular. And then we have Maraja plural of marja. Okay. So from the explanation that I have given, it indicates that we go to them for clarification in terms of our, day-to-day practices, the things we do. Remember in Akaid, we said that believing in God and man and universe and the path, okay? The path that will lead you to that God, which falls under the ideology to God, right? So in that path, we need guidance. We need people who will show us that go this way, don't go that way. Stay here, don't trespass. Do this, don't do that, and so on and so forth. Okay. So fundamentally, this work of marja'iyat belongs to the prophets. Okay, fundamentally it belongs to the prophets. So the prophets are the way for us to be able to know what the maker of the big ship wants. Okay, so in that big ship, what must we eat? So the owner of the ship says to the prophets, tell them they must eat this one, they shouldn't eat that one. So where must we go? Tell them they should go here, they shouldn't go there. So fundamentally, the work of marja'iyat belongs to the prophets. But for us, during our time, we know we don't have any prophet that is coming after our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And after that, we've had our imams who represented the prophets during his absence. So the 12 imams, they came to still, continue that bridge that links us up to the owner of the ship and what he wants from us. So to the time of our last Imam, Imam al-Zaman, Ajalallahu Ta'ala Farjahu Sharif, who also for some reasons, he is in occultation. So if he is in occultation, we still need some people to guide us. We need some people to guide us. So that is how the door of marja'iyah comes from. So during the absence of Imam, we follow marja'a. We follow him in our practical aspect. And remember, this is fundamental differences between Shia and other schools of thought. Okay. In Shia school, the door of marja'iyah is open. The door of marja'iyah is open. What's the meaning of that? It means that anybody can become marja. Anybody. All of us here, we can become marja. Maybe Ryan will become marja in the near future for us in South Africa. Maybe. And what does that mean? It means that when it comes to our school, we don't select who becomes a marja. Everybody has the potential to become marja. But if you go to the school of our brothers Sunnis, the door of marja'iyah is closed. So you hear, maybe inshallah in the near future, when you start to study Islam, you will hear this phrase. They say the door or the bab al-ijtihad, the door of ijtihad is opened for those who are the followers of Ahlul Bayt, and it is closed for those who are not the followers. There are fundamental differences with regards to why it's closed this side and it's not closed that side. Like for instance, if you're familiar with Sunnis, the way they do their things, it is based on some scholars who have died thousands of years ago. Okay? Like they have, what do you call him? Abu Hanifa. Abu Hanifa. Abu Hanifa was during the time of Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, during those days. So he has a book his Risala that he wrote. Okay? So today the Hanafi school, they follow his, Risala, what he said, per his understanding of the Prophet and the traditions of the Prophet. Okay? So we have Imam Malik. So we call some people Maliki. These Malikis, they also follow Imam Malik's, Risala, his Risala Al-Anbiyaa, his book, his treatise of fiqh. Okay? And then we have Abu Hanifa, Imam Malik. We have, what is the name? Hanbal, Ahmad bin Hanbal, yes. Imam Hanbal, and then the last one is, who? Russians? Rashidi. Ash'ari, no. Ash'ari is not a mazhab. We have a Hanbali, Maliki, Hanbali, Shafi, and Hanafi. This four. Maliki, Hanbali, Shafi'i, and Hanafi. Yeah, this four. Yes. Wahhabis and Salafis, they fall under Abu Hanifa. Because if you go to Saudi Arabia, their founding father is Hanafi, Abu Hanifa. Okay? So all these four schools of thought, we call them Sunnis. They are Sunnis, and they have differences of opinion. Amongst even these four, Maliki, Hanbali, Shafi, and Hanafi, we have differences among them. So like if you go to Sunni school, you see some people perform salat like this, like that, like that. All these are as a result of the differences. And even amongst them also, there are those who say perform salat like this. If you go to places like Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, Egypt, people perform salat like this. They don't perform salat like that. Okay? This one is Abu Hanifa's style. Okay, so you see that those who follow Abu Hanifa, they do these things. And like here in South Africa, if you go to, almost all the masajid here, they do like this. Yes, okay? All of them, they do like this. So when you go there and you do like this, it's like, hey, this guy, are you lost or something? But if you go to the North Africa, you see all of them, they do like this. So if you go and you do this, they will also ask you a question, are you lost or something? Okay. But what am I talking about? I'm talking about Marija, and I'm saying that for them, these people died long time ago, and then they are still using their Risala, their books, to issue the same fatwa they have issued those over 600 years ago. And when it comes to us as Shias, we believe that the people that are living, their marja must be a living marja, somebody that they can ask him a question. And also time changes, because the philosophy behind having imams and not prophets after the prophet was, time will change, and we need scholars and leaders who will match up with the time in which they live in. Okay, so generally, Sunni school, the door of ijtihad is closed. It's closed. Okay, and therefore, today they only have scholars. They call them muftis. Okay, mufti. Muftis don't have risala. They don't have a book. And even let me tell you something. These people, Maliki, Hanbali, Shafi, and Hanafi, when they wrote their books, they didn't say the whole Sunni world must follow them. They should follow them. No. They, during their time, they strived to write those books. But after some time, they said, no, we are having so many books that are written on the same subject. So let's close and block so that we don't accept any of the book of any scholar. Let's remain with this four. So that is how this four came into being. Okay. And also remember, this four, none of them lived during the time of the Prophet. Now, they came years after the time of the Prophet. So that is why it's always a very difficult question to answer. How did Abu Bakr pray? Did he pray like this or like that? Yani, if Abu Hanifa said we must pray like this, it doesn't mean Abu Bakr also prayed like that. Because Abu Hanifa came way back. He was born way back after Abu Bakr has died so many years ago. You know, about 5 generations later before he was born. But anyway, that has come to be known that we have a Sunni and then we have a Shia. Okay. So whether they are Maliki, Hanbali, Shafi, whatever we call them Sunni, to a point where we say Abu Bakr is Sunni. Why do we say Abu Bakr is Sunni? Is because of the structure of what Sunni school is all about. Because Sunnis believe that immediately after the demise of the Prophet, Abu Bakr was Khalifa. That is why we classify them as Sunnis. But it doesn't mean that Abu Bakr himself, he called himself a Sunni, Umar called himself Sunni, no. Because this name Sunnah of, Ahl Sunnah came way back after the demise of the Prophet. Okay. Now let's come back to our lesson. Yes. Come again? All of them, they fall under Sunnis. All of them, they fall under Sunnis. So sometimes you see some of them, they make Mawlid, they do all these things, but they fall under Sunnis, Yeah. So now in coming back to fiqh, we get to a point that the door of ijtihad for Ahlul Bayt is wide open, and for that of Sunnah is closed. Now let's come to the Ahlul Bayt. Okay. So in the field of Ahlul Bayt, we have 3 categories of people. That's all of us, we have to fall under one of these 3. Okay. But who falls under these 3? First of all, the person has to be baligh. Okay, he must be a matured person and sane. Okay, somebody whose mind is clear. So, and baligh also, when he is a child from 9 years. So what our Maraji or our scholars have said to us is that a boy child from 14 years, if you miss your salat, Allah will ask you from 14 years. So you must pay. And from a girl child is 9 years. So from 9 years, you will have to fast. You will have to, because now you become mukallaf. There's something we call it mukallaf. Mukallaf is somebody who is responsible. Now you are in charge of yourself when it comes to your mu'amalat with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? In charge of yourself, not feeding yourself. I'm not talking about feeding yourself, being in charge. But you now, like as they say, they send the Rakib and Atid now to start writing your deed. So if you perform Salat before you are 14, it's very important, but it falls out. Okay, from 14, then, now you are in trouble. Okay, so anybody who is mukallaf, who is saying, falls under one of the 3 categories that I'm going to mention. One of them, is there a question there? So this one of the 3, before you even start one of the 3 also, you have to be, I'm just going to use this word, be your own marja in terms of the existence of God. We don't follow marja in the existence of God. No. That one, a sane person, an adult, has to embark on a journey by himself to a point where he, out of his logic, will understand that indeed God exists. So in following marja, we don't follow marja'a in what we call usuluddin, oneness of God, prophethood, day of judgment. Marja'a don't issue fatwa in that regard to say God exists or God doesn't exist. That one, we must be our own marajis. Okay? So that one is our own independent opinion. So in Islam, we don't force anybody to become a Muslim. No. Even if our parents are Muslim, by accepting that God exists or God doesn't exist, that is only solely on our, on our shoulders. But of course, yes, there are recommendations and guidance and also inspiration, and also, we take their recommendations. But even if you take their recommendation, Allah cannot ask us, why do you believe in Allah? No, it's because Molana Masood recommended it to me. No, it's wrong. Believing in Allah has to be based on your own, understanding, your own thoughts, your own reflections. So there is no following, there is no marja'iyya in existence of Allah, in usuluddin. Okay. But when it comes to the practical aspect, because remember in Aqaid we just spoke about the divine worldview. So divinity, the divine worldview, you don't follow any marja. You are marja on your own with regards to that. But when it comes to day-to-day activities, about our prayer, even the prayer, performing 5 daily prayer, you don't follow marja to tell you that no, it's 6 or it's 7. No, marja doesn't have a power to add salat or to reduce salat. No. Okay, so that is why if you look at the device of all the fatwas of marja comes from 113. So that means very small, tiny portion of the entire Quran. Okay, in regards to mu'amalat, what we do, our business, the issues of marriage, the issues of, salat, contracts, we have about 4 of them that marja discusses. Okay, so that is where we follow marja. So when we come to these 4 categories, all of us, we must be one of the 3 in this category. First, we are mature. First, we don't follow Allah. Second, follow Allah in usuluddin. Now we come to mu'amalat, the things that we do. So it's a wajib on us. If there is no marja, all of us to study until one becomes marja. Because marja'iyya is not for only somebody, it's for everybody. Or we become followers, or we become precautionist. So we have marja'a, muhtat, and mukallid. Okay, so if we have marja'a, then there is no problem. We can relax to be followers of those marja'a or become a precautionist. Who is precautionist? There are some scholars that have studied so high, but they are just yet to become marjas. So those ones, they are not marja, but they can follow their opinion, but nobody can follow their opinion. They can follow their opinion, nobody can follow their opinion. And all of us also, we can study to that level. If you want to follow your own opinion, you can study to that level of muhtatun. And then the last group is awam and nas, all of us. We are not marja, we are not muhtat. So what do? We follow the marja. So for us, we are waiting. What does marja say? Then the marja will say, then we will follow him. Okay. So now, before we delve deep into this, there is another fundamental issue with regards to marja. Following marja, especially in these 3 categories that I mentioned, marja, muhtat, and awam nas, we those who follow marja. There is something they call it wajib kifai and wajib ain. wajib kifai, and wajib ayn. In all these mu'amalat, things that we are responsible to do, we have two types of it. We have wajib, which is obligation on each and every individual. And there are wajibs that are obligation on all the collective, the Muslims. So the obligations that are obligatory on the individual, okay, we call it wajib or aini. Like for instance, nobody can perform salat for us as long as we live. That salat is wajib on ourselves. So we cannot hire somebody to one of us become marja, that wujub now is no more on our shoulders. Now we, because we have somebody. Okay, so this is very important. Especially when we talk about marja'iyah. It's very important. We need to know what is and wajib. We have to do it ourselves. And there are other things that if some people do it, then we are free. So that simply means that if somebody dies in Australia and there's nobody to bury him, we have to pay money, bring money together, send two people here with flights to go and bury him. Yeah, to go and bury him so that, he will come back. So in a nutshell, that is what we start as an introduction today. Just to recap what we have said, talk about marja'iyat, marja'iyya. We said the origin of that word, where it comes from, and we spoke about the differences between the Sunnah and Shia, marja'iyya. Yes. The Zaydis and all that. Yes. The Zaydis, yes. Yeah. Yeah. Afterwards, it was like a further from the Ismail. Yes. Yeah, they are Shias, but they are not 12 Shias. That is why we identify ourselves as we are 12. You know, we are 12 Shias. They're also Shias, they are also Muslims. We are the Sunni, which is fine. They also have an Imam. You see, what unites all of us, all Muslims, is the Usuluddin. And even in Usuluddin, we have differences. But there are three core principles for all Muslims. One is of God, there is judgment, and prophethood. This is fundamental for all Muslims, including Zaydis, including, you know, whoever. We are all together in that regard. So from that perspective, we are all Muslims. But yes, there are differences, especially when we come to Furu'uddin. You know, Furu'uddin. We have differences. Yeah. Yes, you have a question? Okay. Is there a you said that you found one yeah. Yeah. So, why is there such a big difference? Shouldn't they also be following the rulings of another? You see, that is a question all of us we ask ourselves. You see, the problem is that the leadership at that time, they censored our imams, you know, and our imams, they did their responsibilities of teaching people in their own houses and all that. So they used to counter these people that their leadership promoted them. Like Abu Hanifa once was a mufti of Iraq. That is mufti. Imam said, "Are you mufti?" He said, "What do you understand about the Quran? You know, what do you do in your fatwa?" The leadership that time, they made life difficult for, you know, Ahl al-Bayt. And they promoted people like Abu Hanifa. So people like Abu Hanifa had more audience and support. And therefore, that is why even today, Abu Hanifa is more famous than Imam Jafar al-Sadiq. You know, sometimes you think about it, it's crazy. How can Abu Hanifa be more known to Muslims more than Imam Jafar al-Sadiq? Okay. Yes, he was a student. But what is a student then? Okay? A student, like now we are sitting here, I'm talking. You might have your own opinion. And when you are going to teach other people, you'll teach them based on your own opinion, especially if you don't believe in me. You don't see me to be somebody that I am. You know, you only come to take the knowledge and you go into your own thing. So that is what happened with some of these people who studied under Imam Jafar al-Sadiq. Yes. Is there any question? Now, so inshallah, next week we will continue with the introduction with regards to fiqh. But I'm sure fiqh is all what I said is not new to you. You know it, yeah. That's inshallah, we'll push, inshallah. Now, محمد وعجل فرجه. Ayan is very surprising, man. Abu Hanifa is a big guy. They call him the door of religion. He is the light of our religion. They call him that. Somebody who is studying under Imam Jafar. Ajib.